So, second Tuesday,
And it's at 2 o'clock, right?
not 3.
Okay.
I'll be Elizabeth.
I think on the meeting, during the meeting, topics that I'd like to have consideration on is, we talked last meeting that, while we were expanding this committee, it would be a good idea to have a audit subcommittee. I don't know if you remember that discussion. When we brought this to the council said, you guys figure out what you wanna go do. So I think I'd like to have that topic, just audit subcommittee discussion, to determine if we wanna have it, how it would work, and who would be on it.
The other item I would say is, what is our contract with the auditors?
Well, I was gonna bring that up, yeah. You said we were gonna do an RFP, and then we,
Do we have a contract with this auditor?
We do have an engagement letter with them. I'm not sure exactly what the contract terms were, but
Because I
I
think
know
we
the
need to-
contract
I
extends.
frankly think we need to relook at this.
Sure, yeah, I shared that with the new finance director, that he would wanna, probably go to bid for a new audit firm next year.
right, all right. So, and I know when we talked about that at one time, Greg asked to be, participate in these discussions on what we'd be looking for, so.
So maybe in January, he can start putting together a request for proposal and meet with the committee to
Yeah.
go over the terms of
That's
the
what I would
proposal,
suggest.
the
Yeah.
request.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Then there was, perhaps we could actually have a discussion on all of our off-balance sheet liabilities at the next meeting. Oh yeah, and since we're at the end of the quarter, perhaps we could have Robert, since Robert, I think I remember your resume, Robert, said that you've done all this trend analysis and things like that. We're at the end of the quarter, perhaps we could have a quick look in your assessment on the first quarter close and what you think the total indicated cost would be, what directions we're heading in. And, and then we would have the special meeting on the property tax audit. Anybody want to add anything and to suggest
Well,
to Robert to consider discussing with the city manager to add to this report?
What about our discussion with this consultant, property?
Well, that's going to be a special meeting because we think it's going to be more than just a topic.
But should he do something initially just to make sure that you understand what they think they're going to do?
Yeah, I think he should. I think he should meet with the auditor that we've hired and make sure the auditor's gonna be answering their questions.
Or maybe we should give her the questions so she can figure out whether she can get the answers.
Well, I think you already laid them out.
I know we can lay them out
61
or-
million up
yeah,
here,
whatever it is.
7 million down here.
61.
Shows how it went from there to there.
Mr. Novak, I shared with him the response from the controller, but I never had your original question to him, but I think it is, provide me with the calculation.
Right.
Show us how we
So
get
if you
from
had
what we
anything
send
more-
in.
That's what I asked in my original letter.
Where's our
I just got
70%?
mumbo jumbo and
And I talked to Supervisor Pine that gave him the question too, and he mentioned somebody, I think it's the controller. Who's the controller?
Yeah, that's the auditor controller that responded.
What's the name?
Catch, Ken?
I guess.
And there's he's the deputy controller, he does all the work. There's
The
actually the auditor.
assessor's Mark Church.
Yeah, Mark Church is he's the politician, but Catch Ken does.
No, but the guy underneath, there's a controller for the county,
Yes.
there's two.
whoever that is.
There's
should
an
be the guy.
assistant controller and a controller and a separate assistant controller. And I talked to two of them. I never talked to the actual controller, but I talked to the one below that and the one below him.
The one you got the email response one from is the one that is responsible for distributing all the calculations out to the cities.
Didn't give us good computer stuff.
All right, gang, it's been a pleasure.
We have-
Well, you Dave, the beach is all.
Anybody else wants to add or have Robert consider?
I think Robert got enough assignments.
Robert's gonna resign tomorrow.
For the new guy.
Hey, can we have a motion
Remember,
to
it is his
adjourn?
first day.
So moved.
Okay, all in favor?
All in favor, aye.
Thank you.
So Diane, you have fun?